As the baby bear's wet dreams of a $10,000 Bitcoin continue to slip farther and farther out of reach, more and more data continues to come to the surface that this Bitcoin bull market is actually even bigger than the biggest bull market the Moon Boys could have ever imagined. But will the bears have one last chance to buy back in after being deceived by tubers calling for a mega crash every single day for the past 12 months? Or will they be absolutely milked big time? Bitcoin has absolutely had a completely maniacal last 48 hours and really an absolutely insane last month. But specifically, after getting a little touch above 38 or right around 38,000 US dollars, we're seeing altcoins again continue to start increasing their valuations a little bit, recouping some of that percentage after being down 80 to 90% even in still some of these top altcoins. And there's two really big things also I think worth looking at today. But most importantly, we are seeing Bitcoin on its weekly chart, as we've been watching, for the first time in history, had the giga bearish cross, the death cross that we've never seen before in any market for Bitcoin, any bull or bear market, with the 50 going below the 200 week moving average. This giga golden cross is it's getting closer and closer each day, and the higher we go, or the longer we just stay high at these levels, the quicker that this blue moving average will flip back to absolute bull mode. Very interestingly enough, probably one of the most interesting charts there is today is this. Beginning back in January, Bitcoin held support as it started its rally on this trend line. January, gigabust all the way up to 25K from 15K. Gigabust from 19K to 31K. Then the third time in June of 2023, gigabust from 25,000 up to about 31, almost 32,000. Then in August, we actually failed to hold this line. And it was the breakdown that you would expect, failing to hold a significant level of support, going from about 29,000 to 25,000. And here we are after, for the past month nearly, or like 3 weeks, testing. Literally, I have not moved these lines in months, or this line in months. I'm going to have to extend it soon probably. But look where we are facing resistance. It was like upsloping resistance as well. And just yesterday, when we broke from 36 up to 38, was the first time that we've seen this bust above this trend line for support since all the way back when we fell below it in August. We had a few like daily candles really inch and squinch to try and get above that, but really no significant closures above it until where we are right now. So if we can turn this into support, or at least stay around these levels and see what Bitcoin's going to do as altcoins catch up, this can get very big, and we can see a real parabola start to form. And this type of structure is so typical for the beginning of bull markets. The beginning parts of bull markets are typically when things are the most explosive. There's the most juice that needs to be let loose of the entire cycle. For example, if we look back to the last bull market, things really, each one of these weekly, or these are like bi-weekly candles. Each one of these candles is like 2 weeks. Each one of these candles seemingly was bigger than the last, right? Look at this. We have a few pretty big green candles, one red, and then 3 really big candles. And then look at this massive one, probably the single biggest one right here back in January of 2021. Bitcoin going from 32,000 all the way up to 50,000 for the first time ever. And so we're seeing pretty big candles right now. But if we're truly at the very beginning stage, now again, I have my reservations that we're going to see 1 or 2 red candles like back here before we really start busting off. So keep that in mind. I'm not of the opinion that it's going to be straight up starting now. In fact, it's never just straight up, except for basically this 4-month-long period back in 2020 going into 2021. But realistically, yeah, this very impressive we've seen so far, and we're above all key moving averages. We're seeing the DXY continue to break down. We're watching the SPX try to hold such a critical level. Just a couple of weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago, the SPX was in danger of a really significant breakdown. And in the last 2 weeks, we've had the biggest rally we've seen in the SPX in like a year, and we're above the 200, 50, and 21-day moving averages for the stock market for the SPX. And right now we're trying to hold there. We're trying to put in a higher high. I mean, we actually did squeak out, or we're kind of right around the same high from back in mid-October. But we really want to break that and try to gain some momentum back, because if we really zoom back, the all-time high for the SPX was 2 years ago, back at the end of 2021. So it's taken 2 years where we have not put in a new high for the stock market. And so if the stock market's able to do that, then I'm even more bullish on Bitcoin, right? I think it gives us even more room to run. With that being said, yeah, you can see we have not actually put in a new high there. But looking at, there's two charts I want to look at as well. So Tech Dev on Twitter talking about this data. A 10x happened over 4 months back here in 2013. And then a 12x over 10 months in 2017. In 2020, a 6x over 6 months. That is what Bitcoin has done the last 3 times that his liquidity signal showed up on these charts. And it just came up again. So we only seen this signal 3 times. Well, now it's 4 times in the past 10 years. And each time after we saw his signal here, we saw some pretty large gains in a pretty short amount of time. 10 months, or sorry, the first one was 4 months, and then 10 months, and then 6 months was the most recent. So if over the next 6 months, let's say we have let's even be a little conservative, maybe a 3x, or yeah, let's say like a 3x. From where we are right now at, let's round up a little bit, because let's say we're at 40, that could be around 120. A 3x from 40K is about 120. I think that's possible. This also could play out over the next 6 to 12 months. It could be a longer term move. But all he's saying is that when you see this signal basically flip only once per bull market, so like once every 4 years, that's pretty significant. CryptoCon also on Twitter, what he highlighted is that Bitcoin is breaking resistance to the upside. The fair value layer is the resistance there. He says that these are the most accurate logarithmic regression curves he said that he watched call both the tops in 2021, something no other indicator was able to do. And it has now entered what's called the white expanse, where according to these curves, there is no clear resistance until about $60,000 US at the 5th layer. He said he doesn't think we'll reach that quite yet, but pay attention for a situation like 2019. We know what happened in 2019. We had a massive summer bust, and then we actually had a pretty big drawdown for multiple months, but then ultimately we did end up beginning the bull market. So interesting. What I do want to highlight quick is what he's referring to there is this, where in the summer we had this massive pump up. For example, we got to about 30% of all-time highs, or only 30% down from all-time highs. And for us now, that would be getting to about the $48,000 level if we had any similar, if we had a move that strong. But yeah, we had a move like that. And then we trended down for multiple months. Ultimately, this is the March 2020 crash where the stock market and Bitcoin got completely obliterated. But then pretty quickly after that marked the beginning of the bull market. And we didn't even set a lower low. The ultimate low was put in earlier in the bull market, which for us, this cycle, if it was similar, it's already in also at around 15,000. Now, that's absolutely not saying we're guaranteed to get that, right? There's absolutely no reason to think it's guaranteed we're going to get a crash of that magnitude. For example, if we even go back to the 2014, 2015 beginning of the cycle, we just basically were trending up. So if we are in a more similar to that, then we're just going to continue to float up. And especially with the fact that institutions are getting involved. And I don't like repeating myself, but it's such a strong thesis for a bull market. We have never had this before. I've been in crypto for like 6 or 7 years. And people have been saying for those 6 or 7 years, well, imagine if institutions got in. It'll never happen. We're literally on the cusp of that. I mean, it is happening. It truly is happening. So it's hard to not even be more bullish. It's crazy how how not everyone's extremely bullish. People think like, oh, everyone's like, say for example, I'm bullish, and I'll look at that and be like, well, must be bearish because you have to be a contrarian. Yeah, I mean, I think that works until it doesn't. I think sometimes, very few times in history, is it maybe just too easy, right? I think it is too easy. But yeah, looking at this chart for Bitcoin, we go to the daily chart. If we really zoom out as well, I want to see, just highlight some of these potential resistances that we're coming into. So let's pull out. Really, if you look on this chart, yeah, 40,000 is probably most likely going to be a decent level of resistance. The $40,000 to $42,000 level, and so I still think Bitcoin has some room to run before, I think 40K is a real possibility. We could run all the way up there in a breakout here. But ultimately, guys, I don't think we're really heading to all-time highs just yet. I think that that's at least a couple months away. So even though I'm bullish, especially on Bitcoin and some of these top altcoins, we're still in a phase of we're not in a blue sky breakout. These are not new all-time highs. We still have very clear resistance above us. Whereas when you truly enter a bull market, and let's say, this part of the chart doesn't exist yet, right? Just pretend this doesn't exist, and this is where we are, and we just start going up and up and up, and then we break this previous all-time high. This is a blue sky breakout. Look what happened last time we had that. We just floated up, and then we traded for like 3 or 4 months before getting a breakdown. Then we had a strong bounce back up, and then, right? So the true bull market begins when we break all-time highs. We're still, I personally believe we're in the beginning stages of a bull market, but I think what most people consider the really like the bull market will not start for a while in terms of getting back up to 69,000, nice, and breaking 69,000. So that's really significant. And as well, actually, there are only 2 days left to register if you're interested in trading. Massive rewards and sign-up bonuses with PHEMEX below in my description. You can sign up. It takes 30 seconds. Create an account with my link below. The link and all the information is in that top link in the description below. But there's only 2 more days to register. The competition goes on for a couple of weeks, and then winners receive their rewards the week after the competition ends. And like I said, if you click that link, it tells you everything. It has like a layout of all the details and everything and what you can win. So yeah, just click that link below if you are interested. But without any further ado, it's for me.